Isaiah chapter 30. We're going to read verse 12. Verse 21. I have been sharing with us rejection. And we've gone far on rejection. And I've given us what rejection could cause in our lives. And why many of us are not moving on is that we are focusing and staying in the place of rejection. I've shared with us extensively the mindset of the reject. And many times we are not being rejected. It is we ourselves that we're thinking we have been rejected. I shared with us, maybe not in the process of this message, but I believe this will bring the message down for us to understand better. That there was a time in which I was somewhere. It happened to me. And this man's wife, the wife greeted me hilariously, elatedly, excited. And the husband just passed me by. And I was like, didn't he see me? If the wife could be greeting me, the wife was walking in front of him. I could have gone home and begin to wonder, this man does not accept me. Then I'll begin to give 10,000 reasons why he did this. And from there, I begin to think maybe how to take revenge, maybe how to ignore him. Or I could start taking some steps which will destroy relationship. But you know what happened? The following day in the same place, the husband came to me. We were watching basketball games. And he came, he said, were you the one that sat there yesterday? I said, yeah. He said he and his wife argued in the car till they got home that, no, it's not Isaiah. I didn't see him. Can you imagine? And he was looking at me. From that moment, I could begin to think, I won't relate with him again. Mindset. But you know, I just said, like, God, whatever he's going through, meet him at the point of his needs. And meanwhile, he wasn't going through anything. He was looking at me, but he wasn't seeing me. You want to say, but his wife saw me. Why will he not see someone that his wife was greeting? I shared with those Absalom, who thought that David never loved him. And situation and circumstances confirmed to Absalom that David didn't love him. Because where he expected David to take action, David was quiet. Where he expected him to act, he thought David was passive. Not only that, situation and circumstances begins to confirm to him that you were never loved as prince. And I shared with us that when you read the account of Absalom, he had been crowned from heaven because his hair was unique and beautiful than any other man's hair in the whole of Israel at that time. Absalom was more, I use the word beautiful, because that's the way the Bible described him. I could have as well said handsome, but the man was so handsome that they used the word pretty. And he had everything going for him. Someone that was crowned from heaven. Before he wears the crown on earth, God had already given him crown from heaven. Before they would choose the best prince to be the heir apparent to the throne, from birth, God had already put his signal on him. But you see, because of the situation and circumstances, he begins to have mindset and he lost the throne. He died untimely. You see, one thing is this, that when we go around with the mindset of rejection, it cuts short our purpose. You know what? It delays our progress. And many times, it gets us stagnated. Because situation and circumstances looks real, does not mean they are real. I'll be sharing with us. And many times we read meanings into what we should not read meanings into. Wait a minute. You are looking at it from your own perspective. Have you ever been able to sit down to look at it from the perspective of others? And not only that, we think we are the only one that exists on earth. It is only for me. So if it doesn't go my way, then it is outrightly wrong. It is outrightly evil because it didn't go your way. But you are not the only one on earth. You don't exist on your own alone. There are things, innumerable things. And you can only see what you want to see. You need to look further than what you are seeing. You don't check it that it's just the way I have seen it. I shared with us many times. You might not be seeing it right. You might not be looking at it in the proper perspective. Situations, circumstances confirmed to Absalom. And many times, situation confirms to us also. She doesn't love me. If she loves me, she will cook before I get home. Oh, he doesn't love me, he will buy card for me. He will bring flowers home. Who told you that? There are times in which the man is thinking on how to get flowers. There are times in which he's not thinking of flowers, but he's thinking of buying you a car. But here you are. Your friends have come around. Oh, my husband bought this flower for me. And my husband doesn't buy flowers for me. So you look at it. Comparison is another thing that makes us to stay in the place of rejection. Oh, if it were my former place. Oh, if it were my former dad, if it were my dad, if it were my mom. I always tell this. Your mom is different from your wife. Your husband is different from your dad. He may have some similarities, but they are not exactly the same. I just discovered again through research right now that our eyelids is different from every other person on earth. Not just our fingerprint. That's one of the technology that they are using in China today. That they can easily pick that you were at so place and you were at another place. They look at the camera and the camera captures your eyelids. And they will know that you have been in Shenzhen and you are now been in Berlin. They know all these things. Because our eyelids, the way God made it, is not just DNA. There are different things in our body that no other person has it. So when you look at it from your perspective alone, we're not doing it right. And I always say this, comparison leads us to wrong conclusion. And what we accuse others of, we're guilty of it. Absalom accused his dad for being passive, for not saying anything. But check the life of Absalom too. When he was to kill his brother, he didn't say anything for many years. The same thing you are accusing your dad of, didn't you do the same thing? So many times, you know, they often say when you point fingers, the other four are pointing at you. Oh, he doesn't do this. Have you done it? And even if he doesn't do it, what have you done to counter what he doesn't do by doing the right thing? The reason why God gave us two eyes is so that we will look at things from both sides. The reason why he gave us two nasal passages in our nursery is that so that we could smell things from different perspectives. And he gave us two ears so that we can hear things from different perspectives. And he gave us one mouth so that we could act in the right direction. That's why God made it. You have two hands. He gave you one to carry something. And he gave you another one to comfort, to hug. He gave you two legs. So that you will know that you don't just go one direction concerning life. That's why God gave us all this. So I'm sharing with us, and I know we have gone far. So please, let's come out of the cave of rejection, despondency, and despair. Life is far better than the way we're looking at it. Christianity is not a drudgery. It's not that you come into life and you go through life defeated. Jesus said, I have come to give you life and to give you in abundance. Jesus said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And you know, when he prayed, he said, Father, I do not ask that you take them out of this world, but in this world, empower them, keep them by the word of truth. Many of us are looking at things from the worldly perspective. I tell people this, and let me say this. If you go through medical service, maybe you go to a doctor, you have not sinned. And if you don't go, you have not sinned at all. It depends on what is given you. Oh, someone didn't see the doctor and he got healed. That does not mean you should not go and see the doctor. God brought the doctor on earth and he gave them the knowledge. You see, for some time, let me tell you, you all know how sick I have been. But I thank God for Sister Debbie that I recommended chiropractor. Because there was a time, three of us in a place, a white man, an African American, and me from Africa. And we were talking about chiropractor. So they couldn't bring out the word. And I said, chiropractor. The white man said, chiropractor. The same place, and the African American said, chiropractor. We all laughed. And we are both saying the same thing. We are both referring to the same thing. But I want to tell you, I've been seeing chiropractor, or chiropractor, or chiro, whichever one you want to call it. And not only that. Does that mean I have sinned? Does that mean I don't have faith? So, whichever one God is leading you to is what you should go for. And that does not mean that your prayers are not being answered. What I have been going through has killed so many people. We know of a former governor of a state that the same thing I'm going through was what killed him. He had all the money, he has everything. But he died through that ailment. I know of a young girl. My wife and I still always talk about that girl. A young girl that was just crossing from teenage years to early 20s. Bright future. It was my wife and another pastor's wife that prayed for this lady. And she died 2 weeks later in the hospital. Because of the same thing I'm going through. And I've been experiencing it for more than 30 years. And I'm still hale and healthy, sound. Does that mean God loves me more than he loves them? No. Time and chances happens to them all. So I beseech you by the mercies of God to always look at things from different perspectives. And I've been sharing with us, how do you regain what rejection has taken away from you? Because we need to recover the lost ground. When you look at it, I know age is not on your side, but it's not too late. There are people, this is not a good example in church, but it is. There was a president that retired at 56. And there was another president that started at age 70. So it's not too late at all. You are not too far gone. You can still recover all. The peace in your home can still be gotten back. Let me tell you this. You can still laugh and rejoice. You can still sleep for 8 hours non-stop. You have not gone too far. There is nothing that God cannot do. Remember what we prayed for this morning. He neither grows tired nor weary. He will give it to you. So how do we regain the loss? How do we move ahead from where we have been to where we should be? I know that we need to move on in life. So, and I'll be sharing something with us today, very briefly, that we need to hear the voice of God. There are many voices all around. So I'll be back, David. Yeah, I'll be back in the next few minutes. I want you to see this. He brought the message home of what I'm going to be sharing with you in the next few minutes before we go. I just want you to watch this and listen. Thank you.